Welcome to the Everyday GSD Podcast.
Don't be afraid to have to reinvent yourself, because that's coming. I don't care if you've beat everybody down 30 years ago. It's coming back, and you're going to have to beat them down again. Otherwise, you're not going to be the reigning king at all.
Embrace the underdog. If you see opposition coming your way, that resistance is the first sign of success.
It doesn't matter what massive impact you have. If you can give back and just change the life of one person, you'll never regret it. It'll only get better and better every single time you do it.
Who am I actually? And what are the things I'm actually good at? And let me just stay in my lane and hone in on those things.
Just do the work. Don't be scared to roll your sleeves up. Don't be scared to get dirty.
Nobody can do it but you. You're capable. You are fucking capable. Really step into fear, and it's okay to be afraid. It's fucking beautiful, actually, when you're afraid and then you get through that shit.
Release your brain from the shit you don't need on your brain. The more time you have to think about what you want to do, the more successful you're going to be.
When you look up the word impossible, it says it can't be done, not possible, incapable. But then you think about the Wright brothers. They said, I want a machine that flies, and I just flew down here from California, and all the people said it was impossible. Impossible doesn't exist unless you accept it as being impossible.
Listen, you're going to get knocked down, but you got to get up. Right. If it's what you really want to do, fucking just do it. Like always, today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors: gluten-free diet water, premium junk clothing, Williamson wines, and Good Dudes coffee. Gluten-free diet water. Stay hydrated with a refreshing twist, perfect for those health-conscious listeners. Premium junk clothing, for those who love to express their unique style with high-quality fashion pieces. Visit premiumjunkclothing.com and use code EverydayGSD15 at checkout. Williamson Wine, natural artesian wine from Napa and Sonoma. And last but not least, Good Dudes Coffee, veteran-owned by former Navy SEAL Josh Bridges, and where every cup is brewed with passion and dedication to quality. Visit their website at gooddudescoffee.com and use discount code EverydayGSD10 for an exclusive offer. Thanks to our sponsors for supporting the show, and now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Everyday GSD Podcast. Today's special guest is McKinzie Roth. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I am ecstatic to be here. This is such a great vibe already. I love it.
Well, we're going to have some fun too. We're going to have a couple drinks, and I see you've got some Fireball, and of course, we got some Williamson wine, which is one of our sponsors.
Yes.
But I've got a little bio on you, but before I jump into that, I do want to say thank you. I know you just got back from the Cannes Festival, south of France. So.
Yes, my first time south of France, the Cannes Film Festival. I can't wait to dive in and tell you all about it.
We can't either.
Everything I imagined.
I know you travel a lot and you're very busy, so thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. But I'm going to do a little bio on you, so my guests who some out there that don't know you, that are listening, can learn a little bit, and then we're going to dive into you. Okay, you're a journalist who's done incredibly well in your career. You are an American television personality, popular for covering numerous red carpet events, as well as the Super Bowl, American Music Awards, and more. You're also a super talented journalist. Throughout your career, you've worked for various media houses. In 2018, you were doing TV commercials in Cape Coral, Florida. When about 15 years, you were doing television ads for Andy Moore, which has various car dealerships throughout the Midwest. Mm-hmm. And currently, right now, you're a spokesperson for 60 dealerships nationwide.
Yes.
You also host the podcast Blonde After Dark. Mm-hmm. Make sure we do a little plug on that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's at LDR Studios with Clark, who's an amazing guy.
Shout out to Clark.
Yes, big shout out. And actually, Clark filled in for Justin one day. Justin had a family emergency. So Clark dropped everything at the studio, came here, and actually did one of our episodes because our guest couldn't change. So Clark's awesome.
They make the show, right? Behind the scenes, they make it happen. We just get to smile and laugh and have fun.
And drink more wine, right?
Exactly.
Okay, where was I? You're also a lifestyle reporter. You were with KGW, mm-hmm. an NBC television affiliate. You co-hosted the Joe and McKinzie Morning Show. You were on Radio Now 100.9, mm-hmm. Houston's 92.1. You were a member of the Wish TV Indianapolis team in early 2020 as an entertainment insider. Geez, I guess I could go on and on, right, Justin?
Well, it doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
I like to do lots of things.
Yeah, you were a midday anchor. You were a morning program host. You were a co-host. You were a live morning show. I give up. I guess, you know what, let's just jump into it, right?
I'm one of those people, I just like to do everything. You know, I'm like, and I have a lot of energy just naturally, but I feel like it really helps you. Like when you do radio, it helps you in television because if the prompter goes down, you're not like, ooh, like you're used to hosting a live show, right? You can have some fun. And then you have a nice cancer from television to bring over to radio and podcasting. So it's a nice marriage to do everything.
And you travel a lot currently, and we're going to jump around a bunch. And I want to go back from when you first started in your early 20s, when you just graduated college and you started working for the Pacers NBA team. But I'm going to go back there in a minute because like currently you're traveling around doing automobile commercials, but you're also doing modeling. You're doing hosting other stuff. Plus you're doing the podcast. So you're extremely busy. You also have a child. How old?
I have two children,
Two
actually.
children.
Yes. I have Lucy, who's 14.
Okay.
And then Oliver, who is almost 2, my little guy.
And you're traveling all over the world working too.
Yes.
So where's the time coming from? Because this is a perfect example of an everyday GSD person.
Oh, thank you. I try.
Where you're not making excuses. You're like, I don't have time. I have children. I can't do this, or I can't do this. I can't do that. There's no I can't. When I talk to Clark and when I've talked to a couple people that know you, and everyone's like, she is always on the go. She's always getting shit done.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a perfect match for the show.
I appreciate that. I struggle just like everybody else to balance it all, but I feel like I measure success on how much fun I'm having and how much I'm enjoying life. So that's what I'm going to do. And just because you wear one cap doesn't mean you can't wear the other ones. I do need to slow myself down once in a while.
Right.
But it's amazing. And my kids will they know how to be flexible. They know a plot twist, and they know how to just make it work. And we all make it work together.
So you're in your 20s. You're graduating college. You said you went to IU.
I did. Proud Hoosier. Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Yes.
Right. My wife, the resident bartender back there, Butler.
Amazing.
Butler grad. So you graduate college and you're like, you know what, this is the field I want to go into, or were you different? Did you have a different major? What got you into this business?
Okay, it's a cool story. So I was 11 years old.
We're about telling stories, so I can't wait.
I was 11 years old, and shout out to my parents. I have incredible parents, high school sweethearts. They've been married 50 years. And I really truly feel like the example they've shown me is like of a quality, respectful, loving relationship has really just built me to who I am. So I'm a kid. I'm one of 3 girls. I'm in the middle. So I'm that one that's always trying to be an overachiever, the middle child and the peacemaker. My dad it was really cool. He would take each of us out on a special date. So we'd have special like quality time with with daddy date night or whatever. So I was 11 and I got to choose what I got to do. I was 11 years old. He takes me downtown and he bid on at some auction. He won a chance to go to a newsroom and go to a news studio and have a news experience.
And you're 11 years old.
And I'm 11 years old. I'm in 5th grade.
All right.
This is so cool, Dad. So I get all dressed up. We go to a nice dinner. We go to the newsroom. And it was an ABC affiliate. And I got to sit in the anchor chair. I got to read from the prompter. I got to toss back and forth with the sports guy. And I was like, this is what I'm born to do. I loved it. They couldn't get me out of the news studio. So from that moment on, I knew in some capacity, I wanted to be in front of the camera. I love to connect with people. I want to bring joy to their life. I want to tell them what's going on. And so it was kind of born. My dream then is like, okay, one way or the other, I'm going to be in front of a camera. I'm going to be an entertainer.
I love it. And you made that conscious decision through, at 11 years old, a decision that kids want to be a doctor or an astronaut, but then obviously life changes and they realize I actually really don't want to be an astronaut. I'd rather do this.
Right.
But so you stuck with that path. So you're in high school and are you like in the drama class?
Yep.
Are you taking like radio classes? I mean, like walking
communication.
Me through,
communication, journalism. I mean, major journalism classes, and then theater. So theater was actually my minor because it just helps you kind of get in front of people and do your thing. And I was obsessed. Like I at IU, I loved all my studies. I was a sorority girl, but all I wanted to do was anchor the news, cover stories on campus. I had my, I was like a one-man crew, like an MMJ, as they say. I had my camera. I did everything myself. I set up my shot and did that. And I just loved it. It fed my passion, right? So I did that through college. And then I said, this is what I want to do. And I just focused, made it happen.
And you made it happen. So were your parents supportive of this decision?
100%. My dad was funny because at some point I loved theater so much that I thought maybe I'll major in theater and minor in journalism. And my dad's like, no. He's like thinking job wise. He didn't want me to be a struggling actress.
Right.
So he's like, let's flip flop that. Stick to journalism. You love to write. You love storytelling, and minor in theater, which now retrospectively, yes, that was the right move.
So that made sense at the time.
Yes.
And now as an adult, you look back at it and go, if I was to give anyone advice, I'd probably give the same advice, or no? Isn't that always the question?
Right, exactly. No, I would say definitely follow your passion. I'm really big on following my instincts and not, if someone isn't, I will say this, if someone isn't in where you want to be, you don't need their advice. And so, because people can't see your vision, people can't see your dream, people think things are impossible, and they're not. It's just like you're fully equipped right now with what you have, what you need. The rest you can learn. So stop being so afraid.
Right. That's, again, well said. I feel like this episode's going to have a lot of good little short reels that are going to come together and people are going to go, hell yeah.
I hope so.
I've already made notes of 3 of them. Yeah. Quotes already.
Yeah. And we've had to stop and record again because technical difficulties by me.
It happens. It happens.
How's your drink?
Oh, it's fantastic. Okay, so you guys were making fun of me because I requested Fireball?
No.
Is this what's happening?
No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of an individual that I won't say his name because I don't want to make him feel bad, but who let me know you drank Fireball about 4 minutes before you arrived at the studio. And of course, we could have went and got you Fireball pretty fast. But then I asked my wife, I go, is there Fireball in the studio? And she's like, yeah, under this over here. So we did have Fireball.
Fireball is like Christmas in your mouth. And I'm late to the game on fire, but it's just fun. I like when I do shows, like when I'm not live on TV, but like when I'm doing my podcast, it's fun to do a Fireball shot or two and have some fun. So I appreciate that you guys enjoy your wine and have a cocktail.
No problem. And I mean, I've had Fireball. It's just not a drink that I drink all the time.
No, me neither. Like I'm an espresso martini girl, black. Like I don't like any cream, or I love a great mojito, like a skinny mojito.
Yeah.
But Fireball's fun for this.
Yeah. All good tips from an individual that should have told us before 4 minutes before the show.
Hey, I like that sense of urgency, right?
Yeah.
We make it happen.
Yeah.
You make it happen, Darin.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
That's what we do every day, GSD.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in college and you land this job with the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
And you're about 20, 22 years old-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're the MC, halftime show. So you're in front of, thousands of people on the floor. You're like...
Man. It was sink or swim, man. Okay, so during school, I interned at Fox, and that was killer because I was up at 3 a.m. I learned the business, and it's so competitive to get an internship like that. They don't pay you because everybody wants to do it. But I was like, I'm going to do this. So I got up at 3 a.m., and I stayed there till like noon. Then I take classes. So that I tell kids and people in college, like always just I interned at radio stations at the same time. And then I had a part-time job and took classes. But you're 10 feet in front of anyone else if you take an internship because it's who you know in this business. It just certainly is. So I did that. And then the Pacers came about and it was sink or swim. They sent me out there. I wanted to be the MC. That's kind of, you welcome the fans and you do the halftime stuff. And your audition is during a live game. So it's like, if you mess up, tough.
It's real. It's not like, oh, do it one more time.
Yeah.
Do it one more time. There's no more one more time.
Yeah. So I went out there. Larry Bird was there at the time and I nailed it. Like I went out there and it's weird because I'm used to be on television and thousands of people are watching you, but you don't really think about it.
No.
But in an arena, you actually see their faces and can boo you if they want, right?
You can hear them.
Yeah, exactly. They're real. But I had fun and I brought the energy. He goes, she'll work. And it was great. And then it was born and I had a blast doing it. I've never felt so short. I mean, there's like LeBron, everyone's like walking. I don't really get starstruck by sports figures. So that was kind of fun because I would like go in the locker room. I'd see people. I don't know, but I did feel very short.
Yeah. Were you there around the Reggie Miller days or after?
After I was there, but I love Reggie's awesome.
Yeah, because my wife danced during the Reggie days.
Okay, yeah.
So she was out. I was gonna say maybe you guys crossed paths, like you're out there on.
We
the floor.
could have. My best friend has worked for the Pacers for a long, long time, and she's in marketing, and she knows all the ins and outs too. Yeah.
Okay, so you're at the shout out to who?
Sarah
Baird.
Yeah.
Sarah, if you're not listening, you better start listening. And by the way, tell all your friends.
Yes.
Click subscribe.
Yes, please do.
So you leave the Pacers and you go where?
Okay, so after the Pacers, this is really funny. So I heard of this opening and I'd never done radio before. I wanted to do news, but it was so funny. So everywhere in the Midwest I went, usually the typical news path, I'm sure you've had anchors on here, is you go to a small market, 125, and then you work your way up. I mean, you want to do LA, New York, Chicago, the top markets, right? I didn't want to move to like a podunk itty bitty town and like do that because I was ready.
Yeah.
And I did interview.
Were you ready or you thought you were ready?
I interviewed and they said, we won't hire you because we know you're going to be here 6 months and you're going to leave. Because
Right.
I wanted to be the best of the best. It's just, I will be the best of the best. I don't like when my show's not number one. I just have this like drive, right?
Yeah, that's your discipline.
Yes.
Right.
And so I kept going to these places and they wouldn't hire me because they said, we don't want you to leave, or they tried to lock me into like a 5-year deal. And I don't want to do this for 5 years here. I'm doing this so I can, excel.
Right.
And I don't want a cap over my head. So I decide, okay, there's this contest. And it was Who Wants to Be a DJ? And it's downtown. I'd never done radio a day in my life. I had always done television. And I'm like, okay, well, this will be fun because they can't see
like
me.
DJ, like radio, like...
Yeah, like on the radio.
Yeah.
I have my own radio
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
So I, American Idol style, stood in line. My mom took me downtown. I stood in line for like forever. I was number 65. And you go in this room with like all the current talent and like program director and stuff, and you read lines. And then I got chosen to be like in the top 5. And then everyone voted and voted and voted. And I'll never forget, I was 65 and there's a dude in front of me and he's 64.
I mean, that was your number.
That was my
in line.
number, 65.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like waiting to do my audition. And 64, the guy panics. He's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And he beelines out of the, you can see him like leave the building. He goes to the parking lot, like zooms. He panicked.
Oh, he just left.
Total choke job. So I was thinking I had one more, like 20 more minutes, 15
Oh, no,
more
you're
minutes.
next.
And they're like, Kinsey, go. But I went in there and I just had fun and gave it my all. And then I got top 5 and then people voted and I was super, super lucky. I made it. I was the one. My first lesson.
Well, it wasn't luck though, right?
Well, I think it's a little bit of luck. I mean, everyone was very talented. I don't want to say that I was like this like shining star. I was different. I guess I was unique.
Okay.
I will say that.
And do you think it helped that this guy chokes, he bounces, and you're like, shit, I'm next.
Yeah.
I gotta put my game face on. I thought I had like 20 more minutes, and maybe you wanted to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, maybe I wanted to put some lip gloss on or like,
clean up one
do a
more
fireball shot.
Yeah, one last last time.
Right.
And they're like, let's go, McKinzie, you're up. And you're like, all right, we're live. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And I did it.
And so you made top 5.
Made top 5, and then the voting happened, and it lasted a week, and I was the winner. So I go in there, and they gave you a weekend shift. I mean, it wasn't the greatest shift, but it was kind of to get you acclimated and to learn.
Yeah.
And so there's a board, if you don't know radio, and that's where you play the songs, you control the volumes, you turn on your microphone, and now everything, it's interesting. Like, obviously old school days, you played records, everything's on computer now.
Yeah.
And music is set. I hate to tell you that to people. They still kind of maybe have requests, but not really. But it was fun. But the boss was like, I've never taught someone radio 101. Like I literally was starting from scratch because usually people had come from like college or done a little, station.
Yeah. And you came from, you're like, I haven't done any of this.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can talk,
Yeah.
but that's about it. I didn't know the technicalities of it. So, and it was fun. I mean, I made mistakes. I messed songs up, but at the end of the day, it's like, if a doctor messes up, it's a big deal. If I push the wrong button and fire off something, it's okay. Life will go on, right?
I mean, that's a pretty good analogy if you think about it. If a doctor messes up, it's a big fucking deal, right?
Yeah, if you're doing surgery.
But if you put the wrong song,
cares?
they're like, and 95% of people don't even know that you made a mistake.
Now, if you don't play the commercials, they do get mad at you.
Yeah,
because
that's the money. Because that's the money.
That was I did look out for.
Yes,
but
yeah.
but I tried to make people laugh, and I was all about timing. And I always try to have fun in whatever I'm doing because I feel like. What's life all about if you're not enjoying at least some part of what you're doing?
100%. Life's way too short to just be out there in this grind that you don't like.
Yeah, and I get every day is not like woo, but I have a hard time also. I like to be on. I like to be in studio. So when I'm anchoring the news, which we'll get to later, it was hard for me to be in a newsroom because all I wanted to be was like on in studio live. That's where I thrive. I'm kind of like a kid at my desk. Like I just am ready to go.
Right. So okay, so you win, and you're doing this now for how long?
I did that for, well, it's kind of a cool thing. I gave up every weekend for over a year, and then I got my own midday show. So I did something right. So then you moved to middays, which was like 10 to 2.
The midday show with who was that with?
That was with Radio Now.
Radio Now, yep.
So 10 to 2. Then they got bought. So I shift over with the... So they don't tell you when they're like blowing up a radio station, typically. Like if there's new ownership or they got sold, they don't really tell the talent. So I go in there one day and it's all Christmas music. And I'm like, and they planned on keeping me on board. But I was like, what am I going to do? Just play Christmas music for months and months and months. And that's what they do when they're typically, or they used to do, changing formats, that type of thing. So long story short.
Now this is happening when it's not Christmas?
It's before Christmas. But
Okay.
they they got...
I remember when that happened.
Do you
It was
remember
like
that?
literally one day, like, what the fuck happened
Yeah,
to Radio Now?
it like Christmas, and then I was like, well, okay, and they're like, well, we want you to stay on. I was like, but like what? Play Christmas
What, you
music?
playing
I'm not.
Jingle Bells again?
And I loved my experience, but long story short, I moved with the radio station. Then I got my big shot doing mornings.
Okay.
And so that's the big
the
leagues
mornings is
in
the-
radio.
the morning's the
You
time.
want to, even though it sucks getting up at 3 a.m. and your life is altered and you're, going live at 5, maybe 6. But that was the big catapult for me because it's like one where I'm not saying you make tons of money starting out, but you make the money, you're heard, and it's a big deal.
Because that's what Dave Smiley said when we had him on the show.
Yeah, Dave's great.
Yeah, and I was like, because we would see him around town around 11 or 12 in the afternoon. His day is done.
Right.
But I'm like, what time do you get up? He's like, early.
Yeah.
Real early.
People think it's awesome, but it's like I always talk to only morning people. It's like a camaraderie that we have. It's because do you nap? Do you power through? But with kids, it's different when you're single and can do whatever you want, but you can't be like, peace out guys, I'm going to bed at 6 if you don't have anyone else looking after them. It's like, no, you have to do homework. You got to do da.
So how long were you doing the morning show for?
So I did mornings with Scotty Davis. Shout out to Scotty. He's down in Florida now. That was my first radio husband, if you will. I did morning.
Scotty can hear us too. We're all over the country.
Yeah, he can. That's
Actually,
why I give him a shout out.
all over the world.
Yeah. So Scotty, he's awesome. So I did. God, I don't even.
Justin's
know.
laughing at me over there.
I'm trying to think of my path from year. So I switched. Oh yeah. So I went from there to a different radio station, and then I was on multiple stations. I was in Atlanta from the Midwest. I was in Atlanta and DC, and then I got lots of stations, but I was overwhelmed and felt like, okay, I didn't want to do that anymore. I kind of got burnout because you're just in and out and you're doing too many things. And then I got a call from the West Coast to host, to be the female lead on a country morning show.
Okay.
Totally new experience. Didn't like country music. Had no idea any of the artists besides like the big ones.
Right. So if you don't like country music, is that a turnoff for you as the host or the?
Well, I'm always up
like,
for the challenge, but I knew
Right.
nothing about it. I was a top 40 girl. I'm used to interviewing top 40 artists. I'm used to, Miley Cyrus, Rihanna, so I was Justin Bieber, and I'm thinking, this is a good challenge. I go out there. I'm like, okay, this is a different world. I get my first thing. They give me a huge book. They send me to the Grammys to interview country artists and other artists. And
So
then
now we're at the Grammys.
Yeah, and I do Grammys,
just in
ACMs,
case.
CMAs,
Yeah.
and it was like
Red
again,
carpet everywhere.
thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
Figure out who this person is and go kill it, and I did. And it was so. Then I'm in this world of Garth Brooks and Luke Bryan and Carrie Underwood, and so it was really cool. And I love country music now because I love the artists. They're so down to earth. They're just so real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
They're not here with a posse. I'm not saying that top 40 artists are, but it's more.
No, but I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when Garth Brooks was calling, he's calling me up. Hey kid, like it's not
Yeah.
a person to a person to person to put on Garth. It's like he's there, right?
So tell me your favorite fun story working around the country music people.
Ooh, oh gosh.
I guess one that you can share. She's like a couple more shots of those.
I mean, honestly, I was speaking of Garth Brooks. One of my favorite stories is that he and Trisha. I took some fans back to meet he and Trisha Yearwood before the show, and they were so sweet and down to earth. And this guy took off this ball cap. And he's like, Mr., will you sign this for me, Garth? And he's like, how much you pay for this, buddy? And he's like, $40. He took $40 out, gave it back, signed the hat. Trisha, they're like in
because he
sweats.
bought the hat.
Yeah.
At the gift shop.
Yeah, and
The
he just didn't
swag,
want him. He's like, here, take this back. Let me sign for you. They're in sweats, talking. There's a lady in a wheelchair. Garth makes sure she's up front or center, has the best view in the house. I mean, they just take the time.
Right.
You know, kind of like Taylor Swift. Say what you will about her. I knew her when she started in country music before the crossover, and she wrote handwritten thank you notes. She was the most polite person ever. And
I've heard nothing but good things about her from people that really know her.
I'm a huge I can't wait to go. I'm taking my daughter. I think I'm more excited than my daughter is for the concert. But it's just I appreciate quality people, great humans, and I feel like when you do attain fame and riches, it really just amplifies the person that you are.
Right. I totally agree. So you're out there and you're starting to like country music at this point.
Yes. I'm like, and I will say, the country artists are very attractive. And I was like, okay. Because it's not all belt buckles and huge hats. Like, that's my idea before. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like too much.
Well, because I didn't listen to country music until actually I moved out to the Midwest.
Makes sense.
Pretty much.
Right.
And then, but I had a different idea of country music too.
Same, right.
And then I ended up going to a big concert in downtown Indianapolis with some friends years ago. And I was like, I guess I'll go. But I really didn't want to go.
Right.
And I went and I was like, this is
fun.
the shit, man.
Yeah, right?
We had such a blast.
Yes, you just have a good time.
Yeah. And I even had a little cowboy hat too, a little straw hat that I bought from one of the little gift shops there. And I was like,
do you still have it?
I probably have it somewhere. It's probably next.
Does your wife
probably
make you
next
put
to
it
the,
on sometimes?
It's probably next to the fireball.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's fun. Yeah. So that was a really cool experience for me. I'm glad I did that.
So you leave the country music radio station.
Yep.
Radio station.
Right.
And so then where are we going from there? And about where are we at in our career? We're 8 or 10 years into it.
Yeah, I'm really bad with timelines. I'd have to look at the years.
No,
but I'm doing, so I get recruited from the NBC affiliate. And they say, hey, come do our entertainment stuff for television. So I'm doing both, which is killing me because I'm doing the morning show, getting up at 3, going live at 5 till about 11, 12, then going over doing TV from about 12 to 8. And then I'm also doing car commercials on the weekends, flying out to like different, like literally from like West Coast of Florida to back to Midwest. I mean,
so when you're doing these car commercials, because they've got you flying around, so you're getting done we'll call it your day job, for lack of a better word.
Right.
And they're like, okay, you got to get on a plane, you got to get to the Indianapolis airport, and you're flying to wherever.
Right.
And then you go to basically a movie set, a video shoot, and then you record.
Right.
Then you get back on a plane, get back on your right time zone.
Yes.
And you're up at...
Yeah. The butt crack. So
the butt crack.
As you can imagine, that I got burnt out pretty quick. So I decided, okay, I'm going to. So finally, when you get everything settled and everyone's cool on every station, contractually wise, then I was able to go over and then I did the news, KGW News, which was a blast. So I did the 4 o'clock, the 7 o'clock, and then I went full throttle television.
Okay.
At that point.
So when you say full throttle television, walk me through that.
I just was out and about. So I was out and about at 4 o'clock doing all like fun things, covering stuff. And then I'd have a show at 7 o'clock that I would do in studio.
Okay.
So I just didn't do radio at the same time because it's too much. It was
Right.
just too much. It was like 2 full-time jobs and I have a child my daughter at that time. Not my son wasn't born yet, but yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
And so then you decide you're going to stick with what you can manage.
Yes.
With everything else you have going on.
Because I am working on that. I tend to, I never want all my eggs in one basket, but then you never want to spread yourself too thin. I suggest reading The One Thing, that's to concentrate on one thing.
What's the book?
It's called The One Thing.
The One Thing.
Yeah, I'll also drop some books at the end that I really think that people need to read. But so I decided, okay, let's focus on television just to hone my craft and make sure that I'm excellent at it. So that's what I did.
Yeah. And so now you're deciding you're just going to work and doing commercials.
I'm just doing the news. I'm still doing commercials on the weekends.
So we haven't went full blown into the commercials yet.
Not yet. I mean, I'm still flying. I'm doing those on the weekends, and it was cool because they'd fly me home, so I got a free ride home to like shoot, and I'd see my family. Because I'm very close with my family, so It was awesome.
And so, at what point did you? Because, like I said in your intro, you're right now a spokesperson for 60 dealerships nationwide.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they're not all coming to you locally to film. No. You're getting on a plane. You're kind of doing the same cycle again.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, you did just get back from France.
Yes. Now we do green screen though, Darin, which is cool. So you can churn out. I mean, I churn out like people would be amazed how many commercials you can do in a day.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, are you doing any commercials up at LDR Studio?
We do my podcast, Blonde After Dark.
Okay,
there.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
Because he has a really cool green room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really,
yes.
Actually, really good.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump into the podcast.
Yeah. So long story short, I moved back home and I thought I'd be here 6 months. Then I picked radio back up and did a morning show for Radio Now.
We'll go to the podcast after.
Yeah.
Keep
Well,
going,
I was just
keep
saying,
going.
so then and that got picked up in Houston. So then I was doing radio and then same thing, exact thing. It's kind of funny now that I'm thinking about the same pattern. Then I got TV was kind of like, come over here. So I had to kind of finesse out of this and went back to television. So then I anchored the news for Wish TV.
Okay.
And then had my son and decided, okay, there's no news is news and there's not a lot of time off. And I did a sports gambling show as well, which was awesome on the weekends.
Sports gambling show.
Yeah, sports betting show.
Okay. What is that?
It doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but it was with you might know with Hammer. I don't know if you know Jason Hammer. It was so much fun.
Hammer and Nigel, baby.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Like,
so
you know
he's
Justin
still one of my
knows.
good friends. And we had so much fun. And that was kind of just an experiment, but I did that on the weekend. So again, they're like,
because you weren't busy enough.
They're like, we need to give you, I remember my boss saying, well, we can't have you working 7 days a week. I was like, yeah. But I love
You're
what
like, I
do.
know.
You're right. I was like, I'm a baby Ryan Seacrest, but so that was a good time. And now, the cool thing is because then it would be like, oh my gosh, can I have Thanksgiving off? Now with the luxury of doing commercials, I get to travel and I love that. So my new vibe is quality of life. I want to make sure I have that balance because I kind of have been uneven for, sometime too much work or too much of this or that. So now it's a nice life work balance.
I love it. And so you're big on Instagram.
Oh, thank you. I don't know why. I'm flattered that people care what I'm doing or even follow me.
But I mean, I think you have like almost 200,000 followers. I think last time I looked before you got in the show was like 195,000 or something. But what do you think's drawing the people to watch you on or want to follow you? Are you motivating them? I mean, I watch some of your stuff and it's pretty cool. I feel like you're always somewhere modeling something or doing something like that's like impressive.
Thank you. I will say my life is not boring. I have a lot, so it's never a dull day with me. I think it's really cool. The best compliment I ever have received was that your energy is electric and it's beautiful and I need a hit of it every day. So that's what you go for. And when I do a show, it's like people, they want to watch your show. They need to see you. They don't know why, but it's part of their daily routine. And so that to me is success. That to me is like they need a hit of Kins or they need a hit of me and I don't know why, but I want to give that to people because life sucks sometimes and people are struggling. So, I mean, my life's not perfect by any means. Every day I'm not like, woo, but I do see the bright side of things and I am resilient and I don't know. I love people that come to my page if they find anything, a fitness tip or something fun in fashion, or they like the location or, I'm trying to just interact on the daily more, just like, hey, what's up? That type of thing.
I mean, because in the last month, how much have you traveled?
The coolest thing I did, I went to the Cannes Film Festival, south of France. And that was really awesome. And it was funny. I was kind of studying up on my French. And everyone speaks English, so you don't really need to do that. But I think they appreciated a little. I was like, je m'appelle Kins. But they were awesome.
A little more practice.
A lot more practice. But it was awesome. And one of
my parents listen to this show, and just so you know, they're from Canada. They live in the United States, but they speak French fluently. That's their
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my mom just heard that, and she just went.
Je m'appelle McKinzie.
Even though she won't, she'll just laugh. Yeah. So she's so nice. She's so nice.
Beaucoup. I mean, I got a little bit. But that was amazing. That was incredible. And it's funny because it's the Hollywood glam, the film festival attracts the A-listers, right? But my favorite part was just hanging out in town, having like, a cocktail and sitting back and people watching. And it was really fun.
So while you're traveling, because you mentioned fitness, people like to, get a tip or a trick. I want you to talk about your fitness routine, but most importantly, while you're traveling, how are you staying up with your fitness routine? Obviously, you have to eat properly.
Right. I'll try.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you can.
It's hard though, because I do like to have gelato or something, like wherever I am or whatever's, like I was in the Bahamas, conch salad. I want to try all these. I mean, that's pretty healthy for you, but I like to try the cuisine of where I'm at.
Unless it's fried, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I do love a good conch fritter though. I mean, I really do. It's it's one of my favorites. Whenever
I love a conch-fritter, bro.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I'll get another 6.
Yeah, there you go.
They come in groups.
They are
come in
delicious,
6.
I will say.
John will be like, what are you eating? Looks disgusting.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I went to the gym this morning.
No, that's good.
No, but so let's talk about fitness.
Okay, so fitness. Well,
because clearly you're in good shape.
Oh, thank you. I try. I don't have and I don't want to be like boring that I drink a lot of water and I get a lot of sleep, but I actually do.
It's not boring.
Okay, I actually do, and I walk a ton. So when I was pregnant, I lost weight very fast after I had my son because he's not even 2 yet. But I walked every single day almost that I was pregnant with him, and then as soon as I could. So walking is like a huge thing. I like a bar class. I like Pilates. When I travel, I'll do like Barry's boot camp, or I went to like in France. I went to a cool gym. I like to check out like the local stuff.
Right.
But just get out and walk. Just move. Even fool yourself. I have a Peloton, which was big during COVID.
So does Justin.
Yeah.
I love my Peloton.
Do you still do it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I'll tell you,
I'm bad. I haven't done. Mine is kind of sitting there, and I'm like,
yours is a coat rack.
Well, I did it during COVID because when I was anchoring the news, I had no time. So I'd get up, do it 20 minutes. That's it. That's all I got.
When Justin and I go on the road and do the show, it's funny because ironically, so I like to row, and I was never a rower. When I did CrossFit, I was terrible at rowing, but somehow I met this one lady who's really good at rowing, and she inspired me to be a better rower.
Now let me ask you this about rowing.
Yes.
Are you not engaging your abs enough if you're hurting your back? Like you shouldn't be straining your back, yeah?
Your back should not be strained.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
So I'm doing something
wrong.
I was doing it wrong. I met this awesome lady, and I basically took a class and like a rowing class.
Yeah.
And it inspired me to row more. So I have a rower in our personal gym here. And
that's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah. So I row. Justin does the Peloton. So ironically,
who's your favorite instructor?
Emma Lovewell.
Okay. Shout out to Cody Rixby. Cody, hey.
But the funny thing is, every time we were traveling recently, so we did the tour in Hollywood and LA, and then we also did Vegas.
That's awesome.
But it was funny because every hotel we stayed at, we would go and look at the gym, and it would have a rower. There's only one gym that we went to, and I won't say the hotel, but there was a Peloton. But then the rower, they put it in between in an alley, kind of. Oh, yeah. So it was kind of outside of the gym.
It's like you're part of us, but you're not. Yeah. You're like part of the gym.
But the funny thing, it was like I was the creeper on the rower, looking in the window, watching everyone working out. But they were all watching me because they all had to look at me, and I'm just sitting there rowing. I was like, I'm gonna row my 10,000 right now.
That's amazing. That was motivation for you, though. I'm sure, right?
No, it really was.
That's awesome. I don't know many rowers.
A little piece of machinery by you, and some girl came and was working on it like 2 inches from you.
2 inches from me. And I felt bad for her because she probably was like, why is this guy so close to me? But I'm like, just move. And all she had to do was just move her. I felt so bad. I wanted to get off my rower and then just grab her. Like it was some sort of like sit up type system.
That she was doing. Okay.
Yeah. And it was like right in front of me. And I was like, this is awkward for you. Yeah. I know it is. I know this is awkward.
I need space. I cannot stand when you're at the gym and like so someone's waiting for you.
They put us in the alley. It was those 2 pieces of machine, those equipment. And I'm like, huh. I was like, you can just move it. But I just sat there and I just kept rolling.
Just kept going.
I just pretended.
I need my space.
Even though I was looking directly at her because there's nowhere for me to look. I'm rowing.
Oh my god.
And she's just looking at me like this. I was like,
so awkward. Did you watch that movie that was just
so
out?
Awkward.
I'm in there on the Peloton just staring at these 2 staring at each other.
That's having flashback. Did Clint Eastwood come out with a movie? The Boys? Or did you see that movie?
Oh, yeah,
There's a rowing movie.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No, I
You
haven't.
should. It's like your people.
I'll have to.
Yeah, it's about rowing. It's
but
all about rowing.
I would not say I'm a rower. I'm a new. Well, I do row. I try to row at least 5,000 every morning.
Okay. That's a rower. That's a rower. That's cool. I like that. I like to do lots of things. So I like I said, Pilates. I like to walk. I like to, I'm game to try whatever.
Right.
So it's fun.
So when you stay in a hotel, do you try to find a hotel that has a proper gym, or are you like, you know what, I'm gonna just get my walk groove on. I'm gonna go out to the city. I'm gonna find a local gym.
Yeah, I'll go to the local gym, or I'll go and find a class, something fun, or I'll just go outside and run. Like I love going down to Florida. I'll run to Bayshore. I have my little spots all over. Like when I'm in New York, I have places, or I have my spots that I really like.
Yeah.
Or have bands, or just bring bands in your room. Resistant bands, especially for the ladies that were like doing our booties and stuff. You can do all those things in your room.
What's your worst place you've ever went to for unhealthiness, for like working out and like food in your travels? I know this
Unhealthiness?
is probably opposite of everyday GSP.
Probably Indiana.
It's Indiana.
Oh man.
No, come on, man.
You mean where I see the least fit people? Or?
No, because I don't want to call out a whole country. I don't want to call out a whole country. No, like
yeah.
when you so you were just in south of France, and
Yeah.
you've been traveling a lot.
You know
right?
what shocked me?
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Why didn't I say this? In France, Europeans, I mean, they still smoke like all the time, everywhere you go, and like they look chic doing it. I will say, but it's like it's not healthy. I've never smoked a cigarette a day in my life. It's just not appealing.
And it smells like shit, people.
Yeah, and it's like your teeth and your hair. I'm a big teeth person. Like I love like a beautiful bright
Yes.
smile, and I just
Me
like
too.
ooh, and your hair
Johnny
smells.
Depp's teeth are the worst teeth.
Yeah.
Awful.
I
They're
could
awful.
never date a smoker. It's like if someone's the most attractive, like 10 out of 10, but they smoke, no dice. Like ew.
Yeah.
Blech. Yeah.
And everything smells about it.
Yeah,
like
it's just
absolute
gross.
shit.
And if you go in a room where they are a smoker, you smell them right when they walk in. I just can't do it.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
that's so funny. And there's certain cultures that they're still,
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I lived in Southeastern Asia for a while. I mean,
Oh, you did?
I'll tell you what, man. I think they were like kids smoking.
Where
And I'm
did you
like,
Where did you live?
That's another show. The show's about you.
Oh, okay. That's so interesting. I almost went to Brunei, is why I was going to say. I got
okay.
invited
Yeah.
to. I didn't go, but I almost ended up going. But I'm
Yeah.
interested in like Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore's cool.
Yeah.
They got an amazing zoo.
Okay, I've heard.
I think I've said that on a podcast before.
But my dream is
Yeah.
to go to Australia.
Australia.
That is on my bucket list. I've never been. Australia, New Zealand. I'm dying to go to Australia.
So I lived in Australia, but I lived in an area that most tourists don't go.
So
it was the Northern Territory.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long?
Darwin. I was there a little while. Yeah.
Did you love it or no?
Well, I was working in another country and I was commuting from Australia. Yeah.
Oh, so
yeah.
that's a long haul.
No, I was working in a country close to Australia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I was living.
So mysterious.
Yeah. I was living in Australia. But I had this beautiful beach, but you couldn't go in the water because of the jellyfish.
Okay.
And then, the sand had like these sand fleas. So I'm looking at this
God.
beautiful area that you can't like. And it was just this one area of the country because there's so many beautiful beaches in Australia, and there's
I thought you were going to say great whites because there's so many
There's so
sharks
many-
in the
so
news,
many-
right? And
so many
I'm
sharks.
fascinated by sharks,
Yeah.
but I'm terrified. I did go scuba diving in Barbados, so Barbados is rad. If you ever get a chance to go to Barbados, it is so much fun. I brought my son Oliver, so he has his passport. He's not even 2 yet, and
How does it work with a 2-year-old with a passport?
You can get a passport as
So is it
very
a little,
young.
I know, but he's get a little picture.
Oh my god, you have to see his picture. Oh,
It must be the
we
cutest
have the
thing
most
ever.
hilarious story. So we got his.
It must be the cutest thing ever.
It is.
And the customs guy goes like this. He goes, "Oh, look at how cute." he
Yeah,
is."
well,
and then a
his
year
name
later,
is-
it looks nothing like him.
We were laughing because we're like, okay, we're planning this trip to Barbados, right? And it's going to be so much fun. We're ready to go. We get his passport. Everything's in time. We get the passport. We're like, oh, the picture, as you mentioned, so cute. We failed to look. They spelled his freaking name wrong.
Oh, it's the worst.
It said Oliver, not Oliver.
Which,
They forgot the V.
which doesn't match, means it's no good, right?
And we had to scramble and get it fixed. Thank God it all worked out. But we're like,
Yeah.
Oliver. Like, it was hilarious. And now, as a joke, we call him Oliver. But
So
yeah, it
totally
was a
unrelated to the show. I'm just
debacle.
curious about the passport. Is it expired the same amount of time as an adult?
Yeah, it's the
passport?
same. It's this. I believe it's the. Well, that's a great question. I got to look into that because they'll look different, obviously.
Yeah, but
Kids,
real fast.
Yeah, real
Real
fast.
fast.
Yeah, real fast. But
As opposed to like a 40-year-old man turning 50 with a new passport, like it's just the hair is grayer or something, or losing hair. Like a little kid's like,
Tell me about it.
yeah. But a little kid's like, you know,
Yeah.
he's like 4 years old, and now all of a sudden there's
He's
a big
like
difference.
8 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like
exactly.
10 years old. It's like,
Yeah,
this
I gotta
kid's
look
all
into
grown
that.
up.
It is. He had so much fun though. I mean, he swam like new, like he just was like having the time of his life, and the people there are just so full of life, and they're so happy. And a gal would help me with him like in the day, and I was like, "Thank you so much. Oliver loves you." She's like, "He's an awesome boy." Like they just got the vibe of life, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Do you have you spent any time in South America or Central America?
No, I haven't. I want to go. That's on my list as well.
So you love to travel.
I love to travel. I want to travel as much as I can. I think I felt almost like I was almost in a cage before, and I never had time to do anything. And now I'm like, okay, when I have the
Is this
time,
because
I
of
wanna do it.
work,
Yeah.
family?
Yeah,
too
I mean,
much?
yeah, work, just basically work. I love to take my family with me as much as I can. But I also, I went to Italy and was an incredible experience. But I will remember this poignant moment when I'm in Italy and I see this big old bus pull up, and I'm just like on the cobblestone street walking, and this bus pulls up, and it's all these like probably like 70-year-olds kind of getting out
Yeah.
and, you know, walking around. And I'm looking at them, and plus they're darling. But I was thinking, these people probably saved their whole life. They waited till now to come here, and they can hardly, I mean, they're struggling up the little streets, and they're,
Yeah.
you know, they probably are kind of have to take breathers once.
And they're happier than they've ever been, but unfortunately, they didn't do it 30 years earlier.
Exactly.
Right.
And so that
and maybe
really
some did, but like,
spoke to me. Yeah.
yeah.
That just to do what you can, you know, not obviously say tomorrow's never promised, and obviously
Right.
you have to be smart, but at the same time, like, get out there and do it. You
Yeah.
know, if not now, when? If not you, who? Come on.
He's like, that's another one. Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
No, but I'm
No,
serious,
seriously,
though.
that's great, right?
Yeah. If not now, when? If not you, who? So stop selling, you know, yourself short
Yeah.
and get out there. It's time to execute.
Yeah.
Right?
It's time to execute. Yeah, there's a pretty cool video on I think Instagram or TikTok about a former Navy SEAL, and he said the 3 words: execute, execute, execute. Remember that video? I forget his name, Chris something, but it's almost it's the same message, but it's in a different mentality. He's
Right.
talking about he's a breacher, so he's blowing the door up when he's doing an operation. But his team,
Badass.
but his team they would wait until they heard execute, 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 and that would blow up the charge.
Wow.
But he's saying in life you need to execute.
Yeah.
Right. So he takes that correlation and is like, you need to execute, because if you're just sitting around doing nothing, what are you doing?
Exactly.
You're just getting old, right?
And too many of us are planning. And I had this, you know, I would do this too. I'd plan and I think and and it's like, take action, execute. Let's go.
Execute. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I like that.
What do you got, Justin?
Chad Wright.
Chad Wright. That's it. And he's kind of, I mean,
It's a cool shit to hear him talk.
yeah,
It's
yeah. He's out there a little, but I'd love to have him on the show.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make that note.
Yeah, make that note.
Navy
He's
SEALs are
intense.
Yeah.
next level. Like,
yeah. He's
epic.
He's intense. Okay, back to you.
okay. Like,
You're like, oh,
we're
where are we at now?
we've been all over the place. I love it. There's so much. I mean, it's weird for me because I'm used to doing the interviewing, and it's weird sometimes. It's weird for me to be the interviewee.
So I had Christy Lee on the show.
Oh, she's awesome.
Handful of episodes ago.
Yeah.
She was awesome, and it was funny because she's like, I'm not used to people asking me the questions.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and I was
It's
like,
weird.
and I go, but I that's the whole point of the show. It's about you.
Well, I was saying earlier when you were like, oh, hopefully you won't be distracted. And because I have that, we're trained, you know, when you're doing the news, when you're doing an interview and you have your producers in your ear and they're telling you to, you know, you're just used to doing multiple things at one time. And that's just how my brain still works. So
Right.
it's interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so right now you're working on the podcast.
Yes, Blonde After
Dark.
Dark. Oh, so much fun. And this is just my passion project, but I have a blast with it. BAD, you don't have to be blonde to be on the show. It's just fun. It's lifestyle.
And it's all women?
No, it doesn't have to be. We had dudes on last time.
Okay.
It's kind of been one of those projects though. It's been like stop, you know, stop, start, because when you are with, you know, an organization or a network, they like to have you as their talent and they don't want you really doing anything else sometimes unless you know, so it's very tricky. So I've had to kind of start to keep ownership of my baby, and now I can do whatever I want.
Right.
So,
And again, you're doing that at LDR Studios.
yes.
LDR Studios. I slurred those letters together. That's the red wine already kicking in.
I love it. I love it.
Like I said, Clark is awesome.
Yeah, so Blonde After Dark is so much fun. And so, we have a whole new season coming out, and you definitely want to check it out.
Yeah. So talk to me about the show.
The show?
Yeah. Like what is it,
my
Blonde
God.
After Dark? Like,
okay.
what is it?
Well, and I feel bad because we had a girl panel on, and people were like, oh, this is like bashing dudes. I was like, it's not bashing dudes. We had a girl panel and then a man panel on. So everyone was just kind of like, you know, airing their concerns, because we were talking about dating these days. And it was just it was very interesting because for me, my experience was interesting. I was, you know, with my childhood sweetheart since I was 11. So I had one boyfriend, then we got married.
You met your husband,
my ex-husband. We're not married anymore,
right.
but yeah,
and you have a good relationship with him.
Yes,
you said.
he's
But
fantastic.
you guys met at 11 years old. You were neighbors or something, right?
Yeah, four houses down.
Yeah, it was like 3 houses
so,
down.
and he was older than me, so like, you know, then we followed each other to college, and then and so I never dated. Long story short, I never had like my phase or like my, you know, bad girl phase or my 20. I've been married, you know, so dating for the first time for me in my 30s was like, it was wild because it's like, you look good, but so does your dad. It was like, I didn't know.
There you go, Blonde After Dark. Everyday
Blonde After
GSD
Dark.
show just got taken over by Blonde After Dark.
And it was hilarious because I'm like, what is this world, right? And
and you're on. These are like, I'm assuming you're talking about. Also, you're on apps too.
no, I've never been on an app. My likeness, I get informed on the daily. I don't know what that Kinsey's telling people, that people steal my stuff, but I've never been on a dating app ever.
Okay.
I've never done any of those things. I like to meet the organic way, the old school way. A lot of times, I meet people
at a
like,
bar at 2 a.m.
no, like interviewing them or through work.
No,
or,
I'm just kidding. Yeah, of course.
we have mutual friends. I like, what I think's the best is that if you have someone to vouch for somebody else, because then it's like if you have a friend and then this guy,
and
this
that's
guy
how I met my wife.
Is that?
Yeah, through my neighbor they were best friends in college, and he introduced us. Mark
And how long have you been married?
We just passed 10 years.
Aw,
Yeah.
congratulations. That's awesome. So what do you think people...
Is it 11 years? 13, 2012. Oh, we're in 24.
Yeah.
We just passed 11 years.
That's awesome. Do you think men are resistant to be married these days now? Because I look at my parents, obviously
Meaning
everything's
resistant,
changed.
like not wanting to?
Yeah. They're like,
No.
they don't, I feel like men don't want to commit because they're like, what's in it for me?
No, I think, and this is obviously I'm married, so I guess I'm not being able to articulate for the non-married man, but I feel like with all the ways people are trying to date with, apps and all of these things, it's so discouraging because you're not really you're not seeing the actual real person.
Right.
So you're not getting the real information. And then
Right.
all of a sudden you go on a date and you go on another date and you go on another date with multiple people and you're like, these are just disasters. So you kind of throw in the towel because you're like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Everyone's using filters and stuff. But if you're doing it the old fashioned way, and I say the old fashioned way, the traditional way, I don't know if that's the right word, but if I met you in a restaurant and I asked my friend who works there and they said, oh, she comes in all the time. It's like, oh, she seems really nice. She's kind to the servers. She's pretty. What does she do? Oh, she does this and this. Oh, you should tell her, like, maybe next time sit over here. Like, or, then you're communicating with a real person as opposed to, okay, the truth is I don't really look like this, even though that's what you thought I looked like.
Exactly.
And I really don't have this Ferrari or this, that was a car that I rented or I was standing next. Like, there's too much fakeness going on.
And I'm all about like someone's energy, right? Yeah. Like you feel that, like you can either you vibe or you don't.
Do you agree with that, Justin? Or no, am I crazy?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I found in LA it was the women who didn't want to be married.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is I feel like when I'm in LA and some of my friends out there, it's sad to me because it's very transactional for me. I feel like it's like you do this and I do this and I'll give you this if you do this. And it's like, for me, that's not it. I'm like a power couple dynamic. I like I got your back, you got mine, no matter what, we're a team. And I feel like sometimes, I don't know, and then you also want a man who makes you feel that you can be a lady and you're feminine and he's got your back. So but I do feel like I don't like transactional relationships. And I feel like a lot of times now it's like, that's what it is.
And I think a real man that is in a relationship with someone wants his partner to be, super powerful too, because like, as you said, it's a power couple.
Makes you look
like,
good.
Yeah. Like,
Right.
I would never want to be with someone who's just like, oh, he does this, he does this, does this. No, like, yeah, I'm going to buy my wife flowers. I'm going to do nice things for her. But at the end of the day, she's a fucking performer. She's a producer. She gets shit done. She is truly everyday GSD.
That's awesome.
And that makes me stronger and faster and better, right? Because I have her support.
Yeah.
And I hope that, well, and I know for her that's the same way, but that's, I think, God, we're in a relationship show now, right?
There we go.
I'm Dr. Phil.
That's awesome. But
you
it's
know
interesting.
what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
when someone's like, men don't want to date. Yeah, I'm sure there's a shitload of loser men that don't want to date right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think there's a bunch, same thing on the female side of it. They're like, again, they're like fake profiles and fake this, fake that, and trying to put this persona that's not real.
Right, exactly. And I feel like you need to meet someone and like feel them. And I'm very empathic and I do feel energy. I'm very intuitive.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I can.
But I mean, I've got your Instagram up right now and you're sitting in front of me.
Oh,
right?
thank you. Yes.
Yes. And these are I'm looking at you. These are beautiful pictures. I don't see anything fake in any of these pictures. They don't seem like they've been like, oh, yeah, obviously some of them are professional photos.
I mean, yeah.
But like
every picture. Yeah. I mean, yes.
But there's a difference between a professional picture. But that's not what I'm saying. Like, it's different if I was like, oh, wow, you look 30 years older than you do in your picture. No, I mean,
thank you.
Like, I'm looking
I would hope it's like a very nice representation. Of course, like I always tell people, you wouldn't, I think, obviously you can overdo it and all girls play with stuff like that. But I feel like, you want a nice photo.
Yeah. And you said you had, earlier about 5 minutes ago, you mentioned someone has, several people probably have stole your information. They
God.
started a fake account.
I've seen it's interesting because sometimes they'll keep my name, but I did see, like, we were talking about the Grammys, me at the Grammys, and my name was still McKinzie, but I lived in like a state over. I just was interesting, but I'm like,
And they're stealing your pictures.
they're just steal your pictures. And then that kind of freaks, there's nothing you can really do though. But then I'm like, what is this? Like, what if this is like a pervy Kinsey? Like, what's she saying to people? Is she, and then I don't want, there's a lot of lonely people in the world, right?
Yeah.
And so then I don't want them pouring into thinking, I don't know, but I can't control it.
No, you can't. And the thing that always not scares me, but concerns me when that happens is that individual that's doing that. First of all, they need help, right?
My gosh! Don't get me started on like internet people that are like, ugh.
But I think the big one is when all of a sudden you find out that if you find out that they're like dating these other people, but they're giving them money. People are giving them money, and they think they're giving you money.
It's
bad.
bad.
It's bad. It's so bad.
I had to block a lunatic, this chick, and she was like going like some random person that was just a troll. And it was funny, once like I blocked her, like 7 accounts disappeared. So she'd been following me on 7 different things. So like I just think it's really sad. So when I see like a beautiful woman or she's doing something awesome, like that's inspiring to me. I don't understand people that are so I don't know, just so hateful and spiteful and in the dark that they just want to squash any like light that they see.
Yeah.
It's so sad, and you can't give into that. And it's not I want people to realize, especially in my industry, you have to have a thick skin, because people, they see you on TV, they will tear you to shreds because they feel bad about themselves. It doesn't have anything to do with you. I mean, I've had little women say, "Oh, call the news station about what I'm wearing. Say they hate this or they hate that," and it's like. One time someone's like, I could see your ankles. I mean, I would wear that dress to church, and they were like, it's too sexy. It's just, you can't win. You just have to be kind, and like, it's not about you. It's about them.
Yeah, it's so true. We had an awesome, super powerful, and I use that word out of respect. Danielle Enright, she was on the show. She flew in from Vermont, and she was like, women are knocking women down. Like, stop doing that.
Yeah, it's awful.
Like, and I'm not saying you all, like, this is what she's saying. If we all stuck together and just everyone helped each other, we would all be better off. Like, instead of being like, oh, so catty, right. Do this. And I'm like, and the guys are doing the same shit, right?
But
just
I feel like in a different way.
In a different
right?
way. In a different
way. What do men do?
I don't know. Let's talk it. You know what we're going to talk about? Fireball. Because you mentioned before we started recording, you were like, you said Fireball, and I was like, oh, Fireball. And you're like, I got a story about Fireball.
I mean, it's not that crazy of a funny story.
I feel like it's probably going to be good.
So my little sister Chrissy, I don't know why we started doing Fireball shots, but we're super, super close. And we said it's like Christmas in your mouth. And whenever we get to a family occasion, we bring out the Fireball. And it's just really fun. It's kind of carried over. So people are like, Kinsey, like, you should have discovered that when you were 20. Same thing. I drank.
You're like, I couldn't. I was being mom and doing all this other shit.
Yeah, but it's kind of, so I'm late to the game, but I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
Same thing like I had a diet Mountain Dew the other day. People were like, what are you, 14? I was like, I know it's bad for you and I shouldn't do this, but they're fun. It's fun.
A diet Mountain Dew.
It's so random. That was my random like drink of like the month.
So I drink a Mountain Dew like once a year or twice a year when I go back to my hometown in Plattsburgh, New York, the Adirondack Mountains. I eat these things called Michigans. You're probably like, what's a Michigan?
What's a Michigan?
I'm going to tell you. It's a hot dog with meat sauce. It's not a coney dog.
Okay.
I can just hear Jonica right now.
She's my wife is cringing when I talk about it. She's a vegetarian.
She hates it? Oh, okay.
But when she just hates when I talk, because she'll say it's a coney dog. It's like, it's not a coney dog. Any of my friends back on the East Coast or anyone that knows, a Michigan is a Michigan. It has nothing to do with the state of Michigan.
Oh,
it's
that's
just called a
interesting.
Michigan.
Okay.
So it's a hot dog that has meat sauce on it with no beans, nothing. It's just a.
Do you get the meat sweats when you eat one?
No, when you eat 5 of them, you do. But anyway, so
like Fogo de Chao up in here.
I go with my awesome nephews and my parents, and sometimes my brother if he's available. And then we have these Michigans, and I drink a Mountain Dew.
That's fun, right?
It's like that's the Mountain Dew story.
That's fun.
And I can never really drink the whole thing. And
right.
And they always ask, "Do you want it in a, the off the tap or whatever?" Because I don't drink soda.
I don't either. I do drink a Diet Coke occasionally.
So I don't drink any soda, but they ask if they like from the machine or do I want a bottle. I go, I want a bottle.
Oh.
And I'm like a little kid. I'm like, I want a bottle.
See, yeah.
This looks like a coney dog to me. So explain this to me so I don't.
Oh, can I see? Can you?
No, we'll put it up. I'll show you after.
Okay.
It's not a coney dog. It's a coney.
Okay.
Trust me. Anyone who knows in Michigan is like, it's not a fucking coney dog. It's not even an option. It's not even an option.
So would you say that's like one of your biggest indulgences? Because you are very healthy as well. Like, is that one of your biggest? Like,
when I'm back home,
when you're back home,
when I'm visiting
yeah.
my family, I'll go there more than I should, but I don't care because I it's like once a year.
Did you eat anything cool in like Las Vegas or when you were out in LA? Because they have lots of fun cuisine.
I like good food, so we
Yeah.
went to a lot of good restaurants.
Yeah.
And I honestly can't tell you. Like I love sushi.
Yes.
I can't even think of some of the restaurants we were at.
Well,
but-
we didn't do it, but I wanted to take him because we eat pho a lot.
Oh yeah.
And in
that's
Santa
cool.
Monica, there's this restaurant that has a pho burrito.
Oh,
And it
ooh.
is crazy how they've made it taste like pho, but it's a burrito. It's
I don't know if I
so
would have
good.
liked that.
Oh, it was delicious.
That's kind of fun.
I mean, I would have tried it.
Think about people though; they get so many like YouTube views and hits and stuff, and they're just trying stuff in their car. Like you know what? It's unbelievable when I'm watching these videos, and they're literally just messing around and they're making bank.
Where was the one restaurant we went to in LA that I loved? Because I said let's go back twice. We went back twice.
It was so good.
It was an Italian place too, and I'm not necessarily an Italian restaurant person.
Serafina?
I don't know. I don't remember now.
But it was so good.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good because it was like we were on our third or fourth day there. I go, hey, let's go back to that place we went to like 3 days ago. And he goes, really? I was like, he's like, there's so many restaurants. I'm like, I want to go there.
The food in France was bomb, I was going to say. And then I was in the Bahamas. I mean, that's what I love. I love eating different cuisine, different places.
So you mentioned the conch salad, right?
Oh, yeah.
But do you like a conch fritter?
I never had the fritter.
Are you crazy?
The conch salad. Okay, Darin, I gotta admit, it was real chewy. Like I wasn't like crazy. I mean,
that's why you have to have a conch fritter because they.
But it's like a hush puppy.
So that's what my wife said. So hush puppies are like a Midwest thing, right?
Right. Well, yeah. It's like
but it's got the conch in it. The meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
it was interesting
because the conch is the shell that you can hear the ocean, right?
Yes. Well, all then people were like, yes, and I try it, and I was like, all right, yeah. And it was like carnival.
What a terrible sound. For anyone listening to the show that's not watching it, they're like, what the fuck is that? No, that was my conch sound.
Yes. He's calling in the ships.
Yeah, calling in the ships.
I love it.
Yeah.
That was cool. It's fun to try new food though.
Yeah.
I'm not that adventurous with my food, but I will try it. So I'm not a great cook. I'm not a whiz bang in the kitchen. I like to bake. I can make like sweets and stuff, but
you're not eating a lot of sweets.
It's not my forte. I have to have something sweet at the end of every meal. I'm trying to wean myself off, but I have to have a little, even if it's like a peanut butter cup. I went to DQ the other day because they have these new, I love.
DQ?
Okay, this is it's not on the menu, Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
It is a butterscotch dipped cone, and it's classic. And I just I have probably at least one every summer, but it was awesome. So that was the time. Yeah.
Butterscotch dipped cone.
Oh, it's so good. It's not on the menu.
I bet Justin wants one of those right now.
They're very
what,
good.
I love butterscotch pudding.
What's the thing you've been eating lately?
Oh gosh, Rita's the custard, the frozen custard.
Oh, custard. Okay. See, yeah, you get into something, you're like, okay,
He told me that we were recording, and he told me that the other night, and I go, "What the fuck are you talking
Some
about?"
custard.
I go, what are you talking about?
I'm really into cauliflower crust pizza. Like I love a good cauliflower crust.
But if it's made right, it's great.
You can't tell, and it's
Well,
thin and it's
but
crispy.
here's the thing: when people say like you can't tell, like I don't care if I could tell, it's still good.
Yeah.
Like I love spaghetti squash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so people,
I'd make that.
but I'm not comparing it to pasta.
Right. It's never going to be pasta.
But I don't want it to be. I want it to be spaghetti squash.
Yeah, exactly.
And I make a homemade meat, or I make a homemade meat sauce, and then my wife's like, "I'm not eating it."
That's hilarious.
But like when someone's like, "Oh, this tastes like," for example, my wife eats the Impossible Burger and some of these other things. So the Impossible Burger is similar to a burger, depends on how it's cooked and what you put on it. But when I have it, I'm not like, oh, this I'm fooling myself. No, this is just a good meal.
Right.
It just happens to be a vegetarian.
Yeah. Well, Impossible, and our buddy Joey Chestnut, who I love, who's awesome.
Yeah,
but he didn't do the eating. He's not doing the Nathan's because now he's an impossible person.
We were gonna get him on the show, weren't we?
He's awesome. I've interviewed Joey. I've eaten shrimp cocktail against him. He is phenomenal. He came on Blonde After Dark. He was on my show.
I was gonna say we might have to get with you to have him on the show.
We did pudding. We ate. He's good. He's good. And he's a great. But you know what's funny about Joey is that he's healthy otherwise. Like he does yoga. He's fit.
Yeah. He can just smash back 1,000 hot dogs.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I bet he knows what a Michigan is.
Oh, there you go. That'd be a good question.
No, you can't eat 1,000 of those. Right?
I was asked. I was like, okay, do you guys need a few days apart after you eat at a competition? You need some alone time. Like, how does that? Yeah, he's very interesting.
Yeah, but I think I saw an interview with him where like he does work. He has to train himself.
Oh yeah, it's a
Like,
huge deal.
yeah.
yeah, it's a huge deal.
Nathan's right. Is
Yeah. well, now he's with Impossible. That's why I brought that up because now he's not doing that anymore because I think he's a brand ambassador for Impossible.
So are they doing impossible competitions?
I don't know.
It's fucking gross. I mean, so is the hot dog competition.
I don't know.
I feel like when I was younger and watched them, I know we're so off track. But I feel like when I was younger and watched them, they were just smashing hot dogs back, right?
Yeah.
But then now, as like I'm watching them, they're like dipping in
Oh,
water.
yeah, it's
and
a
I'm
whole
like,
technique they have.
Yeah, it's like
It's a whole
It's
technique.
so gross.
I couldn't do it. What could you eat if you had a competition? Michigan's?
No, I would lose. I mean, I could probably bang back 6 of them, but I'm gonna be sweaty.
Like Oreos? Like what would be your jam? Like what could you eat? I'm trying to think what I could eat the most of.
Asian food.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, spicy. I can eat real spicy.
Really?
Yeah, I cook.
What's the spice meter? Do you know what I'm talking about? They have like the way they measure spice.
The skulls.
The skulls,
What is
or
it?
what's it called? We'll look it up.
Yeah.
I cannot do any spice, but I'm trying to work my way up because it's so good for your
So I
metabolism.
love to cook Thai food.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You have to introduce me because I'm not like a huge Thai person, but I haven't had any really
Scoville.
Scoville. I knew it was close to that.
Incredible Thai food.
So in our garden we grow jungle peppers from Thailand.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, and then Thai basil. I made him a nice dish one night, but I didn't realize he didn't like spice.
Mm.
And we actually
that wasn't spice. That was fire.
Fireball.
I was chugging heavy creamer after one bite.
because he
Oh
goes,
my
"Do you have
God,
any
that's so
milk?" I was
funny.
like, "There's no milk in this house." He goes, "Do you have any creamer?" I was like, "We don't even." Well, before, yeah, I was
my
gonna say
God,
about
that's so
coffee.
funny.
Yeah. So we had heavy cream whipping, cream for cooking. And he was drinking, and I go, "I don't think that's not gonna be good,
The
man."
quote of the show: "We had heavy cream."
Yeah,
I like.
I
that.
mean, I didn't. I was just eating. I was like, "Yeah, I was just eating the food." Yeah.
Oh man, good times. I love it. I love it. Well, it'll be fun. It's fun because my son, who's not even 2, introducing him to new foods because he loves French fries. He loves just random stuff. Pizza. He's a carb king, so he loves like breadsticks, pizza. You have all the kids. So
But at that
it's
age,
harder.
he should be a carb.
Oh
king.
yeah, absolutely. But it's harder when you have all that good yummy stuff around. You're trying to be healthy.
Earlier on the show, you mentioned you've got a handful of books that you want to recommend.
Oh yeah, well, Robin Sharma is one of my favorite. Are you familiar with Robin? He's one of my favorite authors.
Okay.
So he's like out with a new one. I like Atomic Habits is very good. What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey. Oprah is awesome. What I Know for Sure is very good. So I'd recommend that one as well. But
Okay.
I try to read. I should read more, but I'm trying to get back into the habit of reading before bed.
I'll have to make sure I give you my book so you can read it.
Oh, I would love that. I
Yeah.
would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that. I do have something coming out that's very exciting. You want to know about it?
No, I want my audience to know about it. Hell yeah, I want to know about it. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm very excited. So I have a calendar coming for 2025.
Can't wait.
And I've been shooting all over the place.
Yes. Hence the travel.
Yeah, so people ask me for like, hey, Kins, can I have some exclusive pics, blah, 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 blah. So this is a place where there's going to be never seen before pictures, and it's just fun and beautiful, and hopefully you'll like it, and you can buy it. I'll link everything on my Instagram. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then we'll make sure we'll get that after the show and put all the
Because
links
I
on
think
there.
it's so sexy. Like I love Sports Illustrated, and they're doing. I mean, Martha Stewart looking bomb. She was on the cover like last year.
Yeah.
I mean, now
Because how old is Martha Stewart?
God,
Well, I mean,
she's incredible looking.
I'd say last year she was
70 in their 70s. I
Yeah.
mean, but now they've really shaken it up. It's not just like, cookie cutter. And
Yeah.
so that is like, oh my God, one of my like all-time dreams, SI. But I was like, well, in the meantime, why don't I just make my own calendar? So I did.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, why
I love
not?
it.
That's what I'm
82.
saying. She's 82 years old. Martha Stewart,
Yeah, and
rocking.
and it was last year.
She looks incredible.
And I remember I saw her on an interview. I don't know if it was the Today Show or it doesn't matter what show it was on. And I was like, "Damn, Martha, you
Right?
went to prison and shit. You came out strong."
She and Snoop are like the
Yeah.
best
I mean,
pair.
they're just banging bombs together.
Martha Stewart's looking good. She ages like fine wine. We all aspire to be like that.
I love
cool.
it. Okay, so I know you're extremely busy, so we're gonna wrap it up here.
Okay.
However, do you have a couple messages that you want to give to the audience before we leave, or we can just keep talking? But listen, I'm on your schedule, so I'll stay here all night.
Some messages I want to give to the audience. Let's see. Well, just like I was talking about before, I think it's just really important. Like we talked about execution, just execute, live your life. And this is what I'm telling myself, that to stop being so, hard on yourself that you have to be perfect. No one's perfect. It's all right. Just keep moving forward. And there's no time like the present. As I said before, you're fully equipped with everything that you need, and the rest you can learn. So go for it. And again, if not now, when? If not you, it's going to go to somebody else. It's not that they're more qualified. They just went for it. So go.
And we all have the same amount of time in a day.
That's right. That you're absolutely correct.
The
So,
same.
and don't forget to have a little fun too.
Have
I
tons
feel
of
like,
fun.
You gotta laugh every day. I mean, God, have you been through a period and then finally you belly laughed? You're like, man, that felt so good. So I'm trying to just be really present and laugh more and just have a lot of fun and make people smile. Have a good time. Spread those good vibes.
Well, I've been smiling the whole show because you're awesome. You have such
thank you.
positive vibes, positive energy, and I have a little gift for you.
Ooh, we love prezzies. All right.
I know you are an everyday GSD machine, so
I'm trying.
I was told that you like white hats.
I do.
We have a white everyday GSD hat for you.
Wow. I haven't seen many of these, so I'm very blessed that I
And
feel
you mentioned
special.
fitness, so I've got the Razorback.
Super cute.
Yep.
Look he knows the terminology Razorback tank.
Hey, I got you, girl. And then after the show, we'll get some pictures. But
Incredible.
again,
Thank you
seriously,
so much.
No, thank you. I appreciate you being on the show.
Absolutely.
You're truly an everyday GSD inspiration for all the listeners and anyone who doesn't know you. When they listen to this show, they're going to be like, I need to get to know you. And I hope your followers continue to love on you because you're awesome. And I know you love on all of them.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching the Everyday GSD podcast. Episodes come out on the 1st and 15th of the month. If you want to watch people or listen to people that Everyday GSD, please download and subscribe wherever you listen or watch the Everyday GSD podcast. Everyday GSD.